We are on our way to the Meadows. Just finished the sale, and the sales are always weird, right? I gave you guys a list of 51 or 52 horses this morning that I liked, and that wasn't the actual. It was the actual list, but my hardcore top list that we talked about last night at supper was 20 horses. It ended up being 21 horses. Of the 21 horses, I bought 7 out of that list. I bought all 10 out of the 51 or 52 or whatever it was. Now, my top pick of the sale, I didn't dwell on. Obviously, I'm going to tell you who we're looking at. I thought if I gave you all 51 that I started with, that it was generic and general enough that it wouldn't matter. I didn't want to be too specific. Periwinkle was my top pick. She was a horse I thought we would buy. I was sure we would buy. I thought it wouldn't be a problem. I just didn't know how much it would cost, and she may have to be a standalone. And I was prepared. All that was fine with me. I didn't expect her to bring $115,000. I think I was out at what? What was I out at? No, I don't think I even went to 90. I think I got to like 82. I think I went 82 and immediately was 90 like that. Anyway, the filly went for 115 and I was nowhere near close. And that was a little disappointing, but as I said to Amy, Amy and I were talking back and forth, and she only got one of she had like 4 or 5 on her list, and only one of them we got. But the other 4 horses were too expensive, and exactly what I told you what would take place is exactly what did take place. The in-ranges and the ready for monies took the market share of the trotting side. Now that left the door open for a lot of what I would consider, if you trust how I price a horse, a lot of undervalued trotters, right? What the Hills, Volsteads 2 years ago, you couldn't buy them if you wanted to. That's how we ended up with that Marin Foal that year.
But there wasn't as many 2 years ago.
There wasn't as many 2 years ago, you're right. But there was a lot of quality horses here today. And people just kind of were so focused on somebody had said to me halfway through the sale, well, I mean, if you don't have it in range, I said, hold on a second. In range and ready for money. We have 2 ready for monies, and they're 2 beautiful fillies. I love the ready for monies. I was very happy to buy an in range. They're not standouts. They're like Big Ranger is the best 2-year-old. Every year there's a best trotter. There's a best pacer. In range is not down by the seaside of past in Ohio. Neither is ready for money. They've had wonderful years, and in fact, I would say, from the outside looking in of last year, I would say it's fair to say that they were overachievers, right? We all liked in range and ready for money. I was willing to buy them. We didn't get an in range last year, but we did get a couple of ready for monies. I was happy with them. I think overall both sires overachieved from where their expectations were set for 2025, but they weren't layovers. Right? They weren't, oh my God, well, if you don't have an in range, I guess you don't have a trotter. That's bullshit. There's some very, very nice horses out there. I bought a horse, I had him marked at $38,000 and we paid $8,000 for him. He was a What the Hill. The people don't, well, I get it, the What the Hills are tough to break. They're tough to train down. They are tough sometimes. We didn't buy an Uncle Peter, by the way.
I know.
I bid on a couple. It just didn't, they went for a little more than I thought they would. The biggest loser of the day was What the Hill. That's who took the biggest hit, I think. Now, I haven't looked at all of them. We bought 2 that I had priced.
We only got 1 last year.
Yeah, we bought 2 today that were way lower. I had them priced way, way higher than we paid for them. In fact, every horse I purchased, the only horse I bought, and I actually bought it for a little more than I had it marked. And as we started the sale, was the first horse. When we started the sale, I said, it's the first sale of the year. It's hard to gauge the surroundings, the setting, what people's feelings are. So it was hard for me to gauge. Now, I wanted 54. I told you guys the first horse we were going to bid on is 43. It was. I'd Steve bid on another horse. I don't even know if he got his hand up. The horse went for 100,000, I think. And the other one went for 90. I don't even know if Steve got a bid in, so it doesn't really count anyway. The first horse that we bid on, we got there exactly when we wanted to. We bid on the first horse we wanted to, number 43. We were nowhere near 43. But we did get 54. Now, I told you, we were joking about higher out in purple, buy her or buy him. There was 5 or 6 in the sale. I do this in every sale, just to refresh my mind. This, to me, was a bit of a standout. I'm looking at a horse that, 1, I believe is going to go for less than it should, and 2, just an absolute gorgeous animal. There was 5 or 6 in the sale, and I think I got almost all of them. Number 54, Sweet and Steady, was a Volstead. Now, looking back, how the Volsteads were kind of underpriced. That's how good that horse looked, right? I had her priced $28,000, to be fair. She went for $33,000. I was out at 30. Somebody bid 31, went to 32 and stalled there for a minute. Yeah, actually, I might have bid 31. Somebody bid 32 right away, and I thought it was over. And at the very last second, I bid 33. I said, that is the last bid. And it was the last bid. Number 54, Sweet and Steady, came with us. This is, you know, I always liked What a Mission because he tried, right? He was a little hot, he was a little crazy, but when push came to shove, when you drove him the way he got his trip in the classes we had him in, he was always a winner, first or second. And the last start we raced him, I think he won by 10 lengths and drove off. He's a nice little horse. He wasn't a killer, he wasn't a monster, he was just a nice little horse. Well, this is a big, beautiful filly by Volstead, and I just thought that was a good way to start off our day. In my mind, I wanted 4 trotting fillies, 3 trotting colts, 2 pacing colts, and 1 pacing filly. It didn't turn out that way, and I have a very, very good reason why. And I'm going to, as we go along, I'll explain it all to you. So 54, I'm happy. Steve looks down at my thing, and I know he can see what I had written as a price on the horse. I said, well, you know, we'll make that up at the end. Overall, our average will be right where I need to be, and in fact, it was much lower, thanks to 2 or 3 purchases. The next horse we had on our list, the purchase list, view all pages, was, don't know anything, number 80. We went all the way to 80. I told you guys from the outset, now this one was way under. I did not think we would buy this horse. I'm going to be honest. What's that number say right there? 62,000 is what I thought the summa cum laude brother to I'm Fancy Like would bring. Now, it's not like I'm Fancy Like was a killer. Just a nice filly. I had a lot of respect for her. I loved her a lot. The family was okay. I think we paid way more for I'm Fancy Like.
38.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
For way more for I'm Fancy Like than we did this colt. This is a roan. You guys got him. We got a gray. We got a roan. Summa cum laude brother to I'm Fancy Like. He was a knockout when I saw him the day before. I wanted him. Giant, very nice colt, and I had him priced at 62. Now, I did revisit that. He was going to the ring. I said, I don't know how the summa cum laudes are going to sell or have been selling. It's a gorgeous colt, and generally speaking, the grays, the roans, they just cost a little bit more than they're supposed to. Now, that price was not supposed to, and I don't believe it did reflect, as Steve put it, the gray tax. But I did think this was an exceptionally good-looking colt, and he ended up going for 20 right on. Now I'm way under. Little hair over, like 5 over on the Volstead filly, but according to this, I'm up to 40 under, 42 under on this guy. Next one to come up, Amy was bugging me all day to buy Volsteads. I told you guys for the sale we were going to end up with Volsteads. Number 85. This was a Volstead filly. I love this pedigree. Victory is coming, and of course, I always take note of horses that did us good, right? All gas, no brakes was in the second dam. Just a real competitor. He was no competitor. This is a Volstead. Very strong family, and very happy to pick this horse up. What did we pay for this one? I had it marked at 32. What did we pay for this one? Perfect. Perfect instead. 22. I remember. Can you look up the prices as we go along? I think you're on that email I sent Wendy. So just look in the email. Number 85. I had it 32. We paid 22. So now I'm way ahead. Way ahead of what I wanted to. Again, I'm thinking all of this supposed savings is going to go into the purchase of Periwinkle, is what I'm thinking. Next one. I mentioned in the video this morning, I'm pretty sure we can't afford this horse. I had this filly marked at somewhere between 80 and 90,000. Number 96. This was a Down by the Seaside. First foal from a Roll with Joe mare, who is a sister to Peaky Sneaky. Extremely good family, worldly beauties down in the third dam. This is, for especially a regional sale like this, what you would look at as a top pedigree. Very, very good looking filly. She had a splint on both front legs, and so he said, the splints just, they bother me a little bit. Well, Jailbird Jog had 2 gigantic splints on the inside of hers. If we're going to be completely honest, it usually comes from conformation. If they're a little pigeon-toed or out a little bit, they'll pop out like that. Now, I didn't feel that filly. You love this filly too. I didn't feel that she was in or out. Did you look at her closer? Have any feelings on her? I thought she was pretty correct. But when I look at this, when you see splints on the front legs of horses in the exact same place, it's generally confirmation. But that doesn't mean that it's ever going to bother them either. It is never. They have never bothered jailbird job. Yeah, 100%. You pop a splint like that in June, it might bite you for the rest of the year.
Yeah, like we bought jailbird job with those splits.
Yeah, we bought her with those splits. You're right. So Bella Dale, I just did not think was a purchasable horse for us. I was not going to pay the $80,000 or $90,000 for a down by the seaside pacing filly. It just wasn't going to happen. But at $42,000.
Well, I only put 4 pacers from the whole thing on
Yeah, you put 4 pacers from the whole sale, and she was one of them.
And the gray colt was the
And the gray colt was the other one. You didn't like the cowboy horse? That's weird. So half of the pacers, and Amy, if you know, does not ever pick pacers. And of the 4 she had, 2 of them we purchased. So Bella Dale was simple.
None of the trotters.
Not even one trotter? Not one.
No.
That's not true. I'm going to look through the list. There's no way you didn't pick any of those trotters.
Okay.
Number 96, Bella Dale. Simple. Now, I didn't know I had this guy on my list. Now, I love this colt, and I went back, and I did have Barcelona Mickey on my the list I gave you this morning, 51 horses. Barcelona Mickey, I thought, was an absolute beautiful colt. And then when you look, you have Bulldog Hanover in the second dam. The only thing that would slow anybody down was this was the 12th foal. Yeah, it's the 12th foal. But we don't have to go down that road again. This is a big Fred and Anthony conversation we have all the time. I'm always right. He's always wrong. But we have it every year. 12th foal, and the first dam is very strong. Lots of good racehorses in there, but all the power, obviously. The second dam is the dam. So the mother of this horse is a sister to Bulldog Hanover. Pretty hard to go wrong there, and this was an absolutely gorgeous colt. Again, I had it marked at 27. We paid 17. We've been under on every horse except for the first one I bought. Now, along the way, we've been on horses I liked that were on both lists that went way higher. There was a couple I said for sure I'll get for 17, 18, 20, maybe 22. They'd go for 60, 40, 45. Their in ranges were very sought after, and the ready for monies were pretty high too. And then you had your perennial down by the seasides coming out of Diamond Creek, which is now Alliance with Bob Bonney. And they had some quality horses too. But I just felt like we were on the right path. Again, we're still well before Periwinkle. I'm 5 horses deep, and we haven't got to our what I would consider the crown jewel of the catalog for us, for what we were looking for. In fact, I missed Periwinkle, didn't get her. Periwinkle went for $115,000, number 127, and I don't think I even got a bid in after 82,000. Nowhere close. And it wasn't disheartening, because at no point did I have a feeling I should have bid anywhere near that. I thought 82 was high. You know, Purple Laura was a nice filly, right? She might have had a track record date, but she wasn't even a sire stake horse that year, barely. She wasn't better than Sweet on Pete. I liked the filly because she looked gorgeous. I liked the family because we had 2 of them. They both were decent horses. But 115 just seemed astronomically high to me. She was a good looker. I went and sat down, bid on a few more horses that we didn't get. At this point, we've got 5, I think. And I said to Steve, I said, you know, I bought that Monty Mickey colt. If I thought for a second that I had an opportunity to actually buy down by the Cowboy, I wouldn't have bought the Monty Mickey. Because remember, I told you I wanted 2 pacing colts, 2 pacing fillies. Well, now we have 3 pacing colts and 2 pacing fillies. Am I right? Or no?
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, down by the Cowboy, I called him the wrong name that I had you look up. What did I call his brother? Captain Cowboy. It's not Captain Cowboy. It was Cowboy by the Sea. And it was just a terrible story for us. It was a heartbreaking winter. We had lost 3 horses, I think, to colic. And this guy didn't... What's that? Almost Punch was 4. Yeah, it was just a very weird winter. And when it came to Cowboy by the Sea, he got hung up on the wall and ended up... It was just tragic. And he was one of our best trainers at the time. The horse was just an amazing animal. This was the 3/4 brother to Captain Cowgirl. It still almost brings tears to my eyes, thinking about that colt. And, as I had said to you, I might have called him the wrong name this morning, but as I'd said to you this morning, my only knock on that colt was he was a bigger, heavier coarser horse. He hit the ground kind of heavy, which was always, is that going to cause him some trouble down the road with his knees and his feet, possibly? No, unfortunately, we never got to find out because he passed away. But this colt here is a much more streamlined and a smaller colt. Not a small colt by any stretch. He's a big, long colt. I think he's a little more athletic. Would that be fair to say?
I don't remember.
Cowboy? He was just a real stout, big, strong colt and trained good, but I always wondered if he would just hit the ground a little too hard, if maybe he was just a little too coarse. This colt is a very, very athletic horse. And as I walked in the back ring, Steve said, what are you going to go to him? I said, I don't know. I think if we bought him for 60 or 70, we paid just to set the table. Captain Cowgirl was the best pacing filly in Pennsylvania as a 2-year-old and 3-year-old. The next year, we paid $127,000 for Cowboy by the Sea. The next year, which was last year, this year it's 2-year-old, is a full sister to Captain Cowgirl that Pollock Racing, Andrew Harris, bought for $125,000. Now, I have no idea how the filly was training, but they bought her for $125,000. This colt, a 3/4 brother to both, and a full brother to Cowboy by the Sea.
There's a few other ones.
There's a few other ones, I know. But the full brother to Cowboy by the Sea goes for $25,000. Honestly, I probably would have went to 60 or 70 on him. And I just would have had him a standalone horse. He is a very, very good-looking horse. And I don't want to compare it. Oh, this one's better. That's not fair to do. But I will tell you, of the two colts, this colt is a little more athletic. The other colt looked more powerful, strong, coarse. This guy looks more sleek. And as I said, if I thought there was even a chance I could get him for the 60 or the 70, I would have left the Monty Mickey alone at number 98. But him at 17 was easy. Down by the Cowboy at 25? Well, to me, knowing the family, knowing the colt, I don't see how that was the easiest purchase of the entire sale. So down by the Cowboy, we bought another pacer. This is the full brother to Cowboy by the Sea and Captain Cowgirl. Now, I looked at Steve and we were tallying up the average of the horses. I said, I don't want to go buy a bunch of in-ranges that I had marked for 25, for 40. I'm not doing that. The horses that we had left that I was really interested in were all What the Hills, Uncle Peter's. There was 2 Ready for Monies actually that were left. 1 in range and 2 long toms, I believe. 230 came in. Steve looks down. He goes, "Oh, you got some purple." Maybe it wasn't Steve. Maybe it was Jacob. One of them did. I said, "Yeah, I number 230, Popular Expert. The pedigree's good. You know, to look at it, you're like, oh, it's pretty good. It's not fantastic. It's meat and potatoes, racehorse. You know, nice colt pedigree." But the horse himself, well, he kind of transcends his own pedigree. He looks like a very good horse. I could put any number of catalog pages in front of you, show you that colt, and say, what do you think of that horse? He looked exceptionally good. His video was very nice. He was one of the buy him horses. I had him priced at $30,000. He went in the ring. Steve goes, "What do you think?" I said, honestly, the What the Hills are being passed over a little bit. This pedigree's a little watery looking, but the colt's exceptionally good looking. I said, I definitely can't pay $30,000 for him, but man, I think he's a really nice horse. He's stuck at 5. I look at Steve. I bid 6. Somebody bid 7 right away. I'm like, oh, 7. I bid 8. And I don't think Steve saw me bid 8. And he goes, hey, your colt's at 8. I said, I know, it's me. And he goes, oh, I see. He goes, really? Hammer drops, 8,000. Guy looks at me, Steve goes, wow. He said something along those lines. But just a very, very good pickup. But as I tell you all the time, listen, you can listen to me go on and on and on and on about this one and that one. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters till next summer. You know, we approach these sales, and I told you what we were going to do. We were going to go in with a plan. We were going to look for value, and we were going to try and execute. And as I suspected, there wasn't a ton of value in the in ranges and ready for monies. But make no mistake, they don't get a free pass. It's not like they come with a blanket, or they come with a free entry into the super final. These horses still got to get broken, trained down. And I'm sorry, if I have a horse marked at 22 and it goes for 54 because it's an in range, that's not on me. You can say, well, you were wrong, the horse was worth more. Okay, cool. But I'm going to price our horses where I think they need priced. I priced Popular Expert at 30 because he was an exceptionally good-looking horse himself. His pedigree is still, although it's above 8,000, it isn't worth 30. The horse was worth 30, in my mind. We paid 8 for him. It just seemed like there was a line of them come up for about 30 minutes. I was the underbidder or the winning bidder on about 4 horses, and an underbidder probably on 5 while you're even gone to the bathroom.
Had to land.
Shouldn't have went to the bathroom. You would have, did you get to see 230 in person before I bought him? Wait until you see him. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And just a big, beautiful horse, too. Just a nice horse. You like this horse, Rose Run Chief. That horse was on your list. 100% he was. That was Volstead. But you did have this horse on your list. I'm telling you. This is the second foal, maybe third foal, second foal from, this is the first colt, second foal from a Jajermbro mare. That mare is a sister to Rose Run Sydney, Rose Run Yene, Rose Run Whitney, all of Archie's Rose Run Farms. That's the best mare he has, I believe. For producing. Just year after year she produced a good horse. And the sister, Rose Run Value, is the mother of Rose Run Chief. Wait till you see this one. I believe this one with the big white blaze down his face. He is gorgeous. I get pictures of them on my phone. I'll show you when we're done this. Rose Run Chief. What did he come in at, honey? I think 13. I think there was 2 in a row for 13. Number 233. Pretty sure it was 13 or it was 11, one or the other. 13,000 for Rose Run Chief. Now everything starts to feel right. Right? Yeah, we didn't get the big filly we wanted. But everything's starting to feel right. Amy comes back. I said 237 I liked. I had her marked at 22. What did I have the other filly marked at? 30. And we paid 13 for her. I had 22,000 marked. Oh, yeah, you're right. I had 22,000 marked for number 237. What's the mystery? This was another one, Dublin Valley Farms we looked at. I just thought it was one of those horses, really good looking horse, great video. I figured, 18 to 22 in that range would be a good filler for us if we needed one at that time. This is well before the sale. I had this all mapped out. And I think she went for 13 also, right? Number 237. 237, 13, and as I said, I told you guys we were going to end up with 10. The rest of the sale had a few horses left, and the one I absolutely, positively loved was What a Houdini. This is a What the Hill. Again, What the Hill. Now, very important for people to know this. This horse, earlier in the sale, Melanders and the Swedish people, Marcus Melander and the Swedish connections, it was Ty Loy's horse, by the way. But the foal at a 24K Magic, right? I was a little surprised that was hit 55. I think I had it marked at like 35, 40,000, and he went for 100, which was perplexing to me. But when they want a horse, they're going to get it. And it only took one person that wanted it also for that to end up there. I was, of all the sale horses I watched, of all the horses in the sale that I thought went higher than they would, nobody was more shocking to me than him 55. Take nothing. I know the mare was a small mare. They said, no, she was small. It doesn't matter. She might have been small, but now she has a small colt. I just thought that it was a lot of money to pay for a, for I think it was an in-range, or for anything. I thought that family, it was a little much for me. Now, fast forward all the way to the end of the sale. What a Houdini is a What the Hill out of a sister to 24K Magic. That 24K Magic's full went for 100. This one went for, Amy? 11,000. 10%, it was 90% off.
Or you were drunk when you priced all the horses.
I didn't price that horse. I priced this horse at 22,000. It went for 11. I was comparing it to the horse that the Melanders bought for 100 at number 55. That was an in range out of 24K Magic. This was a what the hell out of his sister to 24K Magic. That went for 11. And wait till you see that one also. So, all jokes aside, I think the sale was great. We looked at what we spent. We bought 10 horses for $204,000 total. Average $20,400 a horse. We did not get the top horse that I wanted in the sale, but we did get, we got 8 out of 10 on my top 20 list. What's that?
Slow down.
Yeah, you're right. 8 out of 10 on my top 20 list, and all 10 of the horses we bought were found in that list that I gave you, the video I gave you guys this morning. So a pretty good run today. I was very, very happy. Some value found. The only horse in the entire sale that I priced, that I went even high on, was 5,000 over on the very first horse we bought, and the rest of the horses were way under. I should have looked at what my projections were, because I bet you I came in at about 55 or 60% of my projections today. And I don't usually price them high. I think these were all fair prices that I put on them. It's just, what happened was exactly what I told everybody would likely happen. Right? In range and ready for money. Soaked up most of the trotting market, which took a lot of money away from a horse like What the Hell. So where did we go? Right to What the Hell. Right to Volstead, who took a little bit of a market beating also. So we ended up with 3 Volsteads, right? 3 Volsteads, 2 What the Hills. We ended up with a Summa Cum Laude, and that was the brother to I'm Fancy Like. We ended up with the Down by the Seaside out of the sister to Peaky Sneaky, and we ended up with Down by the Cowboy, which is Down by the Seaside Colt also. So great day at the sale today. I hope you guys had a lot of fun following along. I did, and by the way, it's worth noting, on David's list, the AI list, number 54 was his top pick, or his AI top pick of the entire sale was number 54. The other horse we did not get, that was the one that you picked, Barrel Proof, and 77 was the other one. What did 77 go for, Vinny? That was the other one. I think that was the one that stuck out in my mind, was number 77, if I'm not mistaken. 77 was, what horse was that?
35.
Went for 35. That was the Uncle Peter, full brother to Action Broadway. Action Uncle. Went for how much? 35? Oh, geez, maybe I should have gotten in there. Well, David, I got one of your top 2, and I got a number of them that were on your list. We did pass by some of them, and it's always interesting. David had messaged me and said, number 80 scored a little bit lower than most of the other ones that I had sent you, and I said, well, that might be, but AI did not train I'm Fancy Like. I did, and Jason did, and I drove her, and I thought she was a very, very nice filly. And if this colt, a bigger, stronger colt, is any sort of an extension of her, well, it's almost an impossibility that she wasn't worth the 20. He wasn't worth the 20. What's that?
I don't want to call it a sire upgrade, but it's...
Well, Dancing Yankee...
decrease.
Yeah, there's no way. Summa Cum Laude did do better than Dancing Yankee, so I guess that's a fair assessment. It's a sire upgrade. But, listen, I was just happy we got the horses we wanted. You know, so many times we go there and you're worried about paying too much, or you're worried about getting maybe the ones we didn't want. The only horse I didn't get that I wanted was Periwinkle. And, you know, Irv Miller ended up with the filly, so good luck with the filly next year. I'll see you in Ohio with the ones that we bought. But I was very happy with our entire roster we ended up with today. So there you have it. The 2025 Ohio Select Sale is over. I'll work through all the buckets with everybody, but I want to believe I actually came in under budget. If I was to tell the truth, I think we probably came in under budget. So take care. We'll talk to you all very soon. If you have any questions, who's in what bucket, I have no idea yet. I have to work through that today. I'll get to that tonight at some point, start putting together everything that we're doing. But everybody should be very, very happy with what we did today. I know I was very surprised with what we were able to get done, especially when I looked at the sale. as it was in session. I thought a lot of the prices were extremely high, and for us to come away with what we got for what we paid for it, I don't think you'd be happier than I am right now. All right, take care. Talk to you soon. Off to the Meadows, as I said. Looks like money is racing tonight. Good luck to everybody racing tonight, whether you're in the Meadows or anywhere else. We'll talk to you all very soon.